Welcome back to another episode of STEM in Stilettos. This is your host, Zofia Morales, and I am with Katrina Sterling today. And we are going to dig into some issues. So, if you've been struggling to find balance between growing your business and taking care of yourself and your family and your personal life, or if you've been struggling with imposter syndrome and self doubt and it's been hindering your ability to step out there and lead the way you want to lead, found the things you want to found, then you've arrived at the right discussion today. Because we are discussing going from rock bottom to rebirth, rock bottom to rebirth, how Kat Sterling built NüSpira from nothing. And so let me introduce you to our guest today, Kat
Hi.
Sterling. Hi, it's good to have you here with me.
Well, thank you so much, Sophia. We had such a great conversation in our pre-meeting, so I'm so excited about
We sure did. We
this.
sure did. And so Kat is the co-founder and COO of NüSpira, a family-owned health and wellness brand dedicated to clean, functional products that support energy, digestion, and immune health. I can't talk this morning. Energy, digestion, and immune health. With over 20 years of corporate leadership experience, she also serves as a motivational speaker and is the author of the Amazon bestseller, Why They Are Winning and You Are Not.
Yes.
Kat holds a master's in public health and business from Emory University and a BS in biology from Bennett College. After losing her corporate job, she and her husband Mark sold everything to launch NüSpira. And in its first year, the brand generated over 170,000 in sales and gained traction on TikTok Shop, Amazon, and Walmart. Kat is passionate about faith, family, and financial freedom, and using her voice and platform to empower others to rise above challenges and pursue purpose with boldness. And this is why I'm so thrilled to have you here with me today.
Thank you. Yay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sophia, for having me.
Yeah, I just love your mission. We're like on parallel tracks right here because I really want to close the pay gap between men and women. And a lot of that comes down to shaking off that imposter syndrome and identifying the unwritten rules that you've been living by that are keeping you small.
Yep.
And yes, I love digging into this. So tell us a little bit about your backstory. You weren't born, obviously, as a COO. There's a journey that got you here. And I read your book, by the way, over the last weekend. It was, yes, yes, it was really good. And I got to the end of it and went, what do you mean we're done?
We're not done. There's going to be another one coming because there's another part of the journey that I haven't even told yet. So it's coming. Oh my God. Thank you, though.
Very good. Yeah. So for those who haven't read the book yet, and I recommend you go read the book, tell us a little bit about what brought you to where you are today. Because right now, looking at you, reading through your bio, you are successful with capital S. This is the kind of thing that, your parents hold forth and go, look, this is the sort of thing one should do with one's life.
It's funny you say that because at this point, I still don't feel successful. It's always something else, right? There's always
Right.
more that we're trying to achieve. And so people have to be very careful when they're looking for success or seeking success, or they put the word success in their head, that their definition of success is something that's attainable, that's achievable, and that they're going to be happy within themselves because we all know that once you get there, it's always something else. A billionaire,
Yeah.
always something else. You're a billionaire. What else do you want in life?
Yeah.
It's
How much more money do you need? Well,
how much
now that they want
more.
to be a trillionaire.
Exactly. So there's always something else. But
You
let me
need
tell
to
you
be,
my backstory. Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
you do need to be careful how you define it, right? Because I think if you'd have asked me in my 20s what success looked like, it would have been, I'm making high five figures and a bunch of stuff like that. And the problem with those kinds of like numbers
Yep.
is it changes.
It does.
Back in my 20s, that was a solid income.
Yep.
Now that's subsistence.
Absolutely. That is like making minimum wage now. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
the
Oh,
inflation is so crazy. It's like making
exactly.
wage.
Exactly. So I've kind of learned to define it differently. Success for me now is being financially fluid,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It's being healthy. It's
Yep.
having the time balance to be able to spend with my husband and my dog and
Yeah.
pursuing things that I enjoy that are not business.
Yes. Yes. And see,
Yeah.
people miss that.
And making a difference in people's lives, which is what I'm doing right here.
Absolutely. And people miss that because success is not just a one track thing. People think success, oh, I want to make $1 million. That's success. No, you have to look at success in order to be I mean, as a holistic thing, a well
Exactly.
balanced thing. It's mind, spirit, body, health, wealth. It's all of those things. And so if my family's happy and I'm spending time with them, yes, I consider that successful. If I, like you said, if I have financial flexibility and freedom, yes, that's success in that area. If my corporate world is going well, yes, that's success in that area. So people just don't even think about success in those terms, but it's a whole approach to success. When you say success, it's a whole approach to it.
Yeah. And I think there's a danger in what I call happy when. I'll
Yes.
be happy when,
Yes.
fill in the goal, when I've lost the 20 pounds. I'll be happy when the kids have gone off to school. I will be happy when, no, 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 be
Yes.
happy now.
Yes. And but that's so hard for people. Think about it, Sophia. Like,
Yeah.
it's so hard for people to find happiness. We just talked about this like 5 minutes ago, right? Because you
Yeah.
see what you see online. And I talk about this, I talk about that in my book. I'm like, you cannot compare yourself to everybody that's around you or even people on social media. If you want to compare yourself to you, that is great. Compare yourself to where you were yesterday or where you were last year and be better at that. When you start looking at everybody around you and you start looking
Yeah.
at what you don't have, oh my goodness, that
Well,
can
and you're not comparing apples to apples. You're comparing
you're
your inside world experience to their exterior, highly curated
thank
experience.
you. Thank you. And you're on a different journey in life. People have to understand that everybody's journey is unique. It is different. It took me years, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. I still get
Oh,
it. Some
no, no, I still look at, yeah, I'll
I
scroll
do it
through
too.
Facebook or Insta and go, oh my gosh, look at that. That's just amazeballs. Yeah, it's this 30-second snippet out of their life. And what you don't see is the screaming fight that happened right afterwards, right?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, yeah, that's why I tell people, I'm like, don't even envy me. If you see me online, don't even envy me because you have no idea of the things that I go through on my day to day or what I'm struggling with or what I'm battling with. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And we all face those. I don't care how much money,
Right.
how beautiful you are. You hear stories about beautiful women in abusive relationships. You're like, how does she,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
exactly. And it's
They're on
you
drugs or
you'd
yeah,
like to think if your boo has multiple millions of dollars in yachts and this kind of stuff that it
your
would
life
be a
is
good
perfect.
relationship, but
Yeah.
no, some of them are psychopathic
Yes.
and torturous
Yes.
relationships.
Yes, so we have to be very, very careful when we start looking at other people's lives and comparing our lives to their lives because, like I said, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And just know that when you're in your journey, you are where you are because it is a process. Everything
Yeah.
that I went through, we'll talk about my backstory in a minute, but everything I went through up until this point, like I look back at when you're in it, you don't see it, right?
Oh
It's like
no, and you don't see it until much later, a lot of times.
and then you start looking back and you're like, oh my gosh, this was all planned because if I hadn't have went there and met that person and I hadn't have did this and I wouldn't have started that business. And if I hadn't have lost my job, then I wouldn't have been here with that.
And I wouldn't have made this choice, right?
Oh my gosh, no, like it's just so crazy when you start looking back on the journey in your life. I compare a journey to a river. It's like sometimes it's smooth, sometimes you don't have any rough patches, it just
It
flows.
just floats nice.
It's
Yep.
perfect. And then other times you bend that corner, there's a lot of debris and it gets rough and
There's
you have these
rapids
bumpy
and yeah.
rapids. And it's like, ah, but then it gets smooth again once all of that.
And then there's like this waterfall that
And there's
goes.
waterfalls you gotta look out for, right? It was maybe two, maybe three, but yeah, it's a journey and you have to learn to enjoy and embrace the process because life is about teaching you, it's about growing you mentally, spiritually, emotionally to get you to that next level. And if you're not looking at the journey like that, then you're missing it. You're missing it. This is what life is
Yeah.
about, right?
Well, and a lot of times we miss that journey because we're in one of two places. We're looking back at the rapids we just got through and going, damn, that really sucked. Or we're looking forward and we're like, it's nice, smooth water, but I think I might hear a rumble of something that could be a
Oh,
waterfall. And
yeah,
we live in one of those two places instead of this moment that we're in right now, where we're having a really nice float down the river and everybody's happy and joking and laughing. But we're missing it because we're in either the past or the future.
right. We're not in the present.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's 100% right. Most people don't live in the present. They don't enjoy the little moments. It's like even when things are chaotic around me, it's those little moments. Like when my son is just like, "Oh my gosh, mom, I just love you so much. You are just so beautiful and you're the greatest." I'm like,
Yeah, you want to be present for those moments. Those are the memories you want with you, right?
those are the memories. I mean, even
Yeah,
when it's chaotic, he could say something like that to me that just brings me like right there in that moment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, let me ground myself because this is what matters. This is what counts.
yeah.
Everything else, I don't really care about everything else. Everything else can be chaotic. But God, if he says that to me, that just makes my day. Just
I
makes
yeah, I had one of those moments. This was like an object lesson for me. I had been at a business intensive and we'd
Mhm.
been like crowdsourcing a product and this kind of stuff. And I'm one of these coordinating people more than anything. I like orchestrate. And so I ended up kind of coordinating the different groups together and doing that kind of stuff. And we got down to the end of it and I reported on this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. And then I sat down, and then somebody else got up and talked, and they got a bunch of applause. And I'm like, wait, why didn't I get a bunch of applause? And they're like,
Oh,
we did. I'm like, oh, I was so in my head, I completely missed that,
you
didn't
missed
get a
it.
chance to absorb it.
You missed
And
it, right?
and they're like, well, we'll do it again. I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to be present this time.
I've done that before. I've actually done that before. I second guess myself a lot. So if I do a talk or a speech, like even after we get off this phone call, I'll replay everything
Yeah,
and
I should have taken this
uh-huh,
other turn. Yes. Uh-huh.
should I have said this or should I have done this or should I have mentioned this? And it's like all these things and I second guess myself. And that's when you go back to the imposter syndrome that you talked about earlier. It's like I've done that my whole life and I never realized how great I was in my own person because I've always second guessed myself. I always overthought things. And it's like,
Yes.
no, I'm perfect and great as I am. Not perfect in a sense of like me being,
Well,
but
yeah, and we can have a whole nother discussion on perfectionism because I am a recovering perfectionist. And in fact,
I,
when I edit these, I have to kind of control myself and go,
yes,
okay, you know what? We can leave some of the little things in there. That's all right.
yes. Yes, but I'm the same way. I'm like, I'm overthinking it. I'm a perfectionist. I want everything to be perfect and it has to be like this. And if I say this wrong, and I'll cut that out and do this. And I'm like, no, like stop that. And you are great and you're smart and you're intelligent. And you have a story to tell and it's going to resonate with somebody. I don't care
And
who it is.
it's going to come out in exactly the way it's
The way
supposed to
it
come
should.
out.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Because you could be perfect and there could be 1,000 people that says it sucks, but
Well,
there's a couple, there's 1,000 people that says it's great.
exactly. Well, and the thing with perfect is people don't really connect with perfect.
They don't. It's not authentic. Not
Exactly. It's like,
authentic.
well, I'm not perfect. I could never be like that. But if there is something in there that's a little off or a little wonky, it's like, well,
Right.
okay, that happens to me. I trip over my tongue too. So, hey, ain't it
I do it
great?
all the time. I do it all the time. Trust me. I'm like reading and I'm like, can I read?
Because this is not coming out the way it's supposed to.
I'm like reading books and I'm putting in words that shouldn't be in there. And I'm like, wait, I need to go back and read that whole paragraph because I just missed everything because I feel like I didn't read it correctly.
I know. Oh my goodness. I think we're going to have to do a double episode because I mean, we haven't even gotten into your backstory yet.
Glaze over that. I know we didn't even get to that yet. There's so many different topics. We always have this, you and I have this rapport where it's like we start talking about one thing and we can just go off on that subject.
Oh, we will just go and we won't stop and we'll just circle around to something else and
Until somebody else comes in and say, hey, cut it out. Like you guys
stop.
cut. Stop.
Focus, lady, focus. So, where did you start? Were you born with all of the advantages in this world?
Heck no. Heck
Okay, good.
no.
Neither was I.
Not to say I didn't have a good background. I had a great parents, great background, great upbringing. My parents were entrepreneurs. My dad was a serial entrepreneur. He owned houses, like thousands of houses. Like he was like the man around real estate. But I didn't want to choose that path. I always wanted to be a physician, believe it or not. That was my
Oh,
calling.
wow. Look at
I
you.
Yeah, I know.
I was pre-med for a while
I remember
myself.
you said that.
Yes.
It's crazy because I thought that was my calling. I went to school for biology, chemistry, came out, went and got my master's at Emory in public health, and decided I did lot of research,
Yeah.
did research, and so I decided that I was going to go to med school. So, long story short, that didn't quite work out. I had to pivot after grad school, and so I started looking at careers that would still stay in the medical field. I love the medical field. I love healthcare. I want to make a difference in healthcare. I really want to stay in this field. And so I started looking at healthcare operations.
Okay.
And so,
I'm gonna I'm going to pause you. We'll put a pin in this right here. We're going
Yes.
to pick this story up after the break because we
Okay.
are, believe it or not, up on our first break already. I really appreciate y'all joining us here today. And before we go to break, I'd like to give you a little thought exercise, something to think about as we go into this break. And I'd like for you to spend some time on the places where you feel like you're afraid you're going to get found out, that
Mm,
you're maybe not as qualified as you ought to be. We're going to do air quotes around all of this because
mm.
generally these are lies we tell ourselves. But spend some time around what those stories are and bring those forward because we're going to pick those apart today. And hang with us. We'll be right back from the break.
Oh, checked it loud, but we're here. Tech is ours and we show no fear. No fear. No fear. No fear.
Thanks for hanging in with us through the break. This is Zofia Morales. I am back with the amazing and wonderful Kat Sterling. And before the break, she was telling us about pivoting from pre-med into hopefully something else medically related because it was definitely her calling. So pick it up, Kat, and let us know where you went with that.
All right, so let's go. So I went into healthcare operations. I got my master's, like I said, at Emory. I went into healthcare consulting right after that. And so I was like, oh, I love this business and strategy consulting for healthcare centers. I love it. And so I ended up getting a job at one of the biggest healthcare firms here. By the time I was 30, I was making $150,000. Like I thought I was like,
Nice.
I'd made it. I
Yes.
made it.
Yes.
I was at the pinnacle. That was
Success with a
success,
capital S.
right?
Yes.
I was 30. I was making big moves. I had the nicest cars. I had a house that I could afford. I had all the things, the designer of this, the designer of that. Okay. It's great.
Yeah.
Forward 11 years later, I get called into the office after I come back from Hawaii. And I would have never in a million years, people don't plan for the what if moments because I would have never in a million years thought something
Yeah.
like this could happen to me. I said, they love me. I'm great. I never got less than a 5-star review. I get bonuses and raises.
Your position is secure as secure could
Solid.
be.
They can't run this company without me. Like, what? So I get called into the office and HR's in there and they're like, sorry, Mr. Sterling, we have to let you go.
Like, whoa, 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 wait, rewind. What's this, right?
Right. I'm like, what?
I know it doesn't compute. It
It
just,
doesn't compute because it's
yeah,
like I just got back from vacation. On top of that, I just got back from vacation. And you're gonna do this to me after I just got back from vacation. I didn't even get into the office good. Like I just got back from vacation. And so in that moment, I was like, you know what? I could sit here and listen to them tell me a bunch of BS, or I can take my pride and walk out because after 11 years, you're not going to get the best of me. So I said, you know what? We're not going to do this. I'm going to walk out. Here's your stuff. I'm
yeah,
gone. So I'm
exactly.
on the road. I got to tell my husband, like, what just happened. So I tell him, he's like, well, okay, we'll just figure it out. Funny thing is, a couple weeks after that, he had a company that he had with 3 partners. And so they decided to split and disband that company. So basically, we lost
Oh,
income.
all the income is gone now. Yes.
Gone within a couple months, all the income is gone. Now, when you're
Hard to budget zero.
Oh, it's hard to budget zero, especially let me have a transparent moment. And this is what I want to tell people because people don't understand the importance of living in your means and saving money. They don't understand the importance of that. They think that life is never going to happen to them. And they think that that bank account is never going to drain. And they think that it's always going to be fun and you're going to do. No, 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 no. Even if you don't get fired, what if you get sick?
Yes.
What
Sick,
if your
hit
partner
by a car. Yeah,
hit by a
all
car?
kinds of
What if
stuff
your partner
happens.
gets sick?
Yeah.
You got a husband and he loses his job. You just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so I will never live my life like that again because I admittedly spent money that I should have spent. I did things that I shouldn't have did. And I did it because I wasn't happy within myself. There was a lacking, right? There was a
Yes,
fulfillment. That's
exactly.
stuff like
And that kind of popped forward for me when you said, and I've got the designer everything. I'm like, oh, the designer everything tends to be kind of a symptom that there's a
something.
hole we're trying to fill somewhere.
Yeah, there
Yes.
was a big hole. Absolutely, there was a big hole. There was a self-esteem issue. There was an imposter issue. There was a love issue, a self-love issue. There was a spiritual issue. there was a spirit that my priorities weren't connecting to my spirituality. My priorities were impressing people or showing people how successful I was,
How
right?
well I'm doing. Yes.
Successful I was online portraying this thing that I thought that people needed to see from me, right? And it's so funny because I'm gonna come back to this because it's so funny, but people don't realize how much childhood trauma impacts your
Your
life in the future.
current day to day. Exactly.
Current life. They don't realize how much you don't see it when you're in it, but you don't realize how much childhood trauma affects your adult life. Because the reason why I was like that was because I always felt insecure when I was younger. I got picked on in school, they bullied me in school. And so I always felt inadequate. And I said, if you don't think I'm attractive enough, I'm going to look the part. I'm going to be
Yeah.
attractive. If you
Mhm.
feel like I'm ugly, I'm going to look the part. I'm going to dress it up, put a pig on,
Lipstick on a pig.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
I'm gonna put her in a nice suit, make her look good. But even
Well, you can take a 5 and make her a 9 with enough
hey,
frou-frou.
thank you. Exactly. And so I never healed from that. And so I carry that into adulthood. So I always felt like I had to project this exterior. And it was to my detriment because it put me in debt.
Yep.
It put me in a situation when I lost my job that we didn't have any finances. I had no savings. I had no nothing. So I had to take my 401k and I had to live off of that for a while. And we were out. Like we didn't have any money. I had to get rid of cars and
Well, and thank goodness you had the 401k to reach
thank
into.
goodness. Thank goodness. But
Yeah.
it's like, I had no
But
retirement.
that's not ideally what you want to do, right?
God, no. I would never suggest doing that for people. Like I would never because you need something like people don't understand. Like when you get my age, you only have a couple years. You don't have a long trajectory to work. Like,
Yeah.
you're older, retirement's coming up. You don't want to work till you're 85. Nobody wants to work till
Amen.
85, right? So it's like people don't understand that. So I would never suggest doing that. But we had to do that. We had to dip into that. And then after we did that, we were depleted. I was like, oh my God, what we got to do? We got to do
Yeah,
something.
now our backs are really against the wall.
Our backs
Yeah.
were totally against the wall. And that's when I wrote the book. Like a week after I left my job, I started writing the book and I ended up finishing that. And fast forward, we're sitting around. I'm having health issues. I'm having health challenges because
I'm sure you are.
the
Stress will do that.
the anxiety, the stress, the worry, just the sheer magnitude of the weight of what had just happened and all of the stuff that was coming on me. And I had kids and we got a house to take care of. We got cars, we got this. And I never had a repossession in my life, never had a car repossessed, never had a late house payment. I never had any of that. And so all of that was just like on me.
Yeah.
And like I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I just want to take myself out of here because this is too much. This is way too
Yeah.
much. It was a lot to handle. And so we started seeing this company pop up and they had mushroom coffee. And I was like, maybe those things can help me because I wanted something that was going to be natural. It was going to be holistic. I wanted
Right.
to try it.
Adaptogens and things.
Adaptogen,
Yeah.
absolutely. Adaptogenic mushrooms. I started seeing this company pop up. They were all over my Facebook page and ads and all this stuff. I was like, okay, well, maybe it's good because everybody else, all the influencers say it's good.
Well,
So
yeah. And how does Facebook know anyway? But yeah, that to the side.
I know, right? Like, are you measuring my vitals or something? Like, what in the world?
How do you know?
So we ended up trying the product, for me. I didn't like it. I couldn't stomach the taste. I was like, I don't care what I did. I was like, oh, I love this
This is
concept.
just not happening.
It
Yeah.
is not happening. I love the concept, but it is just not happening. So that's when we sat around and we were like, okay, well, why don't we just go into business together? Because I felt like that moment had been calling, but we never could do it because my husband and I are two alphas and we kind of like, I want to do it this way and I'm going to do it this way. It's hard for
Yeah.
us together. And so, but I felt like
Exactly.
that's what we were supposed to do a long time ago, but it just never came to fruition because we just couldn't get out of our own ways until we were forced to. Now, let me digress again. Let me say something else. I felt like I was supposed to leave that job, but I was attached to the golden handcuffs.
Yes. Yes. The golden handcuffs are a real thing. It's the
It
like,
really
what the heck do I do if I let this go? I know I'm supposed to let it go, but
But
how do I pay the bills and take care of the car payments and make sure the kids are fed? And yep,
insurance,
because
benefits, 401k, all of those things is gold.
yeah,
It's all
because you are attached to them financially with this
attached.
umbilical cord.
You
Yes.
are attached. And I knew because when you're at a position, and like I said, you're doing well, you're running things that people around you can't even do, or your manager can't even do, or this person can't even do. And you know your worth and you know you're better than that, but you can't get promoted. I felt like I couldn't get promoted.
Yeah. Well, you're too valuable to promote. That happens.
Not
You
even
can
that.
make yourself too irreplaceable.
And I felt like you could put a glass jar over a flea and they're just bouncing, and it's like there's a glass
Yeah.
ceiling. You can't
Hmm.
pop out of it. It's like they're just
Yep.
bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. And that's the way I felt for a long time. So I knew it was time to leave. And I felt like God had been calling me to leave that job. But I was like, I can't do that. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. What am I going to go to? Unless you got another job lined up, God, I'm not doing that. Like, what do you mean? Like, no.
Yeah. It needs to be a better, fatter offer. Yes.
Exactly. And so I'm
And
like,
guess what? It probably was a better, fatter offer. It just doesn't look that way on the
it didn't
outside.
look that way. And you could have told me that it would turn out like that. You could have never told me I would be an entrepreneur ever in a million years. But like I said, I knew I was supposed to leave, and I didn't leave. And what transpired after that was something I never thought that would happen. And so I say all that to say, when you are called to do something bigger, and you know you were called to do something bigger, but you're sitting in mediocrity, you're sitting there afraid, you're sitting there and you're like, no, I don't want to do that because I'm comfortable.
Hmm. And doing that would make me uncomfortable.
It will make me uncomfortable. I'm just going to say this. When you're in your comfort zone, God and fate will have a way to get you out of that comfort zone. They'll do it. Something will happen to where you
Yep.
will move out of that comfort zone, and it's beyond your control, and you're not going to like it, and you're not going to be prepared, but
Yep.
it's going to
I
shift you. Yeah, right.
I call it the spiritual 2x4 up the head.
That's what it's going to shift you because you weren't listening. That it's going to be
Yep.
painful, and it's going to shift you in a way that you don't like because you weren't listening when the call was laid upon your heart in the first
Yeah,
place.
exactly.
But
And it comes in increasing volume. You have a
it
choice at
does.
any point
It
to
does.
follow it. There'll be a little niggling invitation. You'll be like, oh, well, that would have kind of been interesting, but no.
It
And then
does.
it'll get a
It's
little
so-
louder, and you're still like, yeah, oh, I don't
and it's like
know.
you got to move.
Now you're moving.
Oh my God.
We're going to push you out of the nest, little bird.
And that's what it feels like. It's like, okay, I'm gonna push you off this ledge. Like, here you go. And so I say all that to say, like I said, move when you hear the voice. Start preparing to move when you hear that voice. So anyway, let me
Yes.
fast forward. So my husband and I are sitting around. We're like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? We saw this coffee company. We tried it, didn't like it, and so I was like, that would be cool if we had something like this for people that actually like coffee. Because I'm a coffee drinker. I love coffee, but that didn't taste like coffee to me. I think
Oh, it's like dirt.
yeah, it was a dirt taste. I didn't want to say that, but it was a dirt taste. And I was like, this would be cool to have in an actual coffee. And so we started looking at it, looking at the market. And my husband always says the trend is your friend. You know, it's going to be a
Oh,
60
very much.
with I think the adaptogenic mushroom market is going to be like a $67 billion market by 2030. It's like this, it's on the rise.
Yeah, yeah.
Wellness is $1 trillion market. And so I was like, okay, well, let's honestly take a look at this. But I'm like, how are we going to pay for this? We don't have no money.
I was going to say, most people don't start from rock bottom.
That's where they start, though. That's where they stop. That's where people stop because they'll be like, "Oh no, I can't do that because I don't have any
Yeah,
money."
we don't have money. I mean, we just ran through all of our 401k. We still have a
Everything.
mortgage.
I don't have any
got
money.
these kids here. Yeah.
I have no money. How are we going to do this? And so we put a business plan together, and that was what I was good at, putting business
There
plans.
you go. See your brilliance.
In the
Yes.
right? I
Yeah.
did it exactly, and that's one of the things I'd already struggled with. I was like, "Am I good enough?" And when your skill sets have to actually come into practice, that puts the pen to paper, and shows that you can do stuff on your own. And so we started putting all that stuff together. We started shopping it around. Nobody would listen to us. They were like, you know,
Yeah.
when doors close in your face, that doesn't mean it's not for you. It just means it's not for them, right?
Exactly. It's
partners.
about them. It's not about you. Yes.
Well, don't get discouraged because people are going to tell you no. We heard 1,000 no's. We were like, okay, is this the right path? But there were confirmations along the way, like, yes, you guys stay on this path. And so
Mhm.
then we ended up finding a partner that Mark, my husband, had worked with years ago. He worked with this guy years ago, and the guy owns a big manufacturing firm. Like he does it all. And so
Oh, okay. So he understands what's
he
required
understands
even.
what we're
Yeah.
doing. So we ended up saying yes, but we had to come with our own money. So we were like, uh-oh.
Yeah, but with the right team, the money follows.
Right. But let me tell you what we did. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, we got equity in the house. Let's talk
How
about
are we going to get a hold of that?
how are we going to get a hold of the equity in the house? So let's just sell it. Let's just sell it. Let's just sell the house. And so we sold the house. That's how we got the equity to
That's
start the company.
that is the pig's commitment to breakfast right there.
That really is. Because it's hard. Remember when I said it, when you're attached to things, you hinder yourself. And so that's
Yes.
that journey really taught me, was to let things go, because I was attached to the house, I was attached to the cars, I was attached to my things. And I had to get out of that mindset that things make me happy. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, that's what started my real journey on this path, was letting go and shedding the things that weighed me down, because they really kind of weighed me down, because they weighed me down
Yeah.
with money and debt and all of these things. And so
Yeah.
once I got
Well, and
that,
a lot of times you think that you own the thing, but in a lot of ways, the thing owns you.
it owns you. It owns you because you're attached to it. You got to pay a car payment or a house
You
payment.
gotta maintain it. You
Gotta maintain
gotta, yeah.
it. It's a
Hmm.
lot. So once I shed that and got a different perspective, I started feeling happier. I started feeling less anxiety and worry. I started feeling lighter because I wasn't attached to what people thought, and I wasn't attached to earthly things. I started building my relationships spiritually,
Yeah.
and that freed me. And I'm telling you, when people start looking at life like that, as not, I got to accumulate stuff, but I got to get a spiritual relationship, or I got to be holistic, then life changes. The day you start doing that, life will change dramatically for you.
Yeah.
Here's the point I want to make. You'll be fearless and you'll be bold enough to go out there and do stuff like that. Sell your house to start a company, or quit your job. I wouldn't say quit your job, but I'm just saying,
Well, there are ways to transition smoothly, but yeah,
correct.
in the end, the
Do it.
ultimate goal is quit the job.
Right, exactly. But
Yeah.
most people won't do it. They won't take the small sacrifices to get the long-term gain. They're so scared. And but once you eliminate that fear and you get rid of your attachment to things, you won't have that fear, I guarantee you, because you won't be worried about, oh my God, I gotta buy this, or I gotta pay for this, or I gotta do this. You won't be worried about that. You'll be like,
Yeah,
oh,
you've been through all that.
I've
Yeah,
been through it all. I've been through it all.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
now,
my husband and I went through a bankruptcy several years ago, and one
Mhm.
of the things we decided going into it was we were just going to tell anyone that needed to know.
Yeah,
It wasn't going to be a secret.
yeah.
This is where we're at. Here's where we're at. Here's why
Mhm.
we're at, and this is how we're moving through.
It is what it is. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised how many people have been in that situation and been in your shoes. I mean, you're not alone. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. It doesn't have to be a big shameful thing. I mean,
right.
shit happens.
Life
Jobs go away, people get
happens.
sick, medical bills happen.
Absolutely.
You
Life
know,
happens to everybody's, but if it
yeah.
hasn't happened to you yet, it will happen to you, because
Guess what? It's coming.
it's coming. And it like the way it comes, but it's coming. But yeah, life happens. So I would never be ashamed. And that's why I'm like transparent about my story, because I'm not ashamed of it. It happens. Stuff,
It is what it is.
it is
Exactly.
what
And
it
we
is.
are, guess what? Up on our second break
Oh
already.
no.
No, how did that happen? So we're up on the second break, and I hope this gave you a little bit of insight into like the whole imposter syndrome thing and starting to pick that apart, because I think imposter syndrome is kind of a complicated thing in some ways, and in other ways it's very simple. It comes back to the story we are telling ourselves as women, and I think a lot of that is not our fault. I think we're raised with the story as a woman that you start a little deficient compared to the guys. And I think that's a fairly common thing that we receive as women. So don't feel bad if you're telling yourself that story. But guess what? You get to tell yourself a different story.
Mm.
And so I would like to invite you over this break to take your pen, take your piece of paper, and think about what are some of the other stories you'd like to be telling yourself. And hang with us. We'll be right back.
Oh, check it loud, but we'll hear. Tech is ours and we show no fear. No fear. No fear. No fear.
Thanks for hanging in with us through the break. This is Zofia Morales. I'm back with the amazing and wonderful Kat Sterling. And before the break, you were telling us that you made the pig's commitment to breakfast, not the chicken's commitment to breakfast. You sold your house and gained a lot of freedom and boldness from doing that. Did you expect that that would happen, or what was your anticipation before you sold the house of what your feelings would be around that? And then what were they actually?
I was scared. I don't want to say the word shitless, but I was scared. I was afraid, definitely afraid, because I had never been in a situation where I had to do something that bold. I've never been in that situation. And so I was terrified. But once I actually did it and went through the process, I was like, oh, this wasn't so bad. That's what we tell ourselves all the time. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be this. You put all these fears in your head. You put all these things in your head of what it's going to be like. Like you said, we're always looking to the future and
Yep.
looking behind what happened 10 years ago and what could happen tomorrow, versus, okay, let me just sit in this moment and think about it and process.
Yeah.
I did, and it was totally fine.
And I think that's one of the beautiful insights that I would love our listeners today to take away with them, which is when you pull yourself out of the past, when you pull yourself out of the future and you arrive in the present, you can actually start to like greatly knock down that anxiety by just doing a gratitude list, right? Because there's nothing bad happening right now. No one's coming to take you away to jail. Your kids are all fine and healthy. Everybody just had dinner. You know, you're okay. You're still breathing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're fine right now, right here in this moment. So let's be fine right here, right now in this moment, and let tomorrow take care of itself.
Absolutely.
The past you can't do anything about. Tomorrow will take care of itself.
Our minds and our bodies are designed to do that. It's like that flight or what is it?
Fight or flight.
Yeah. It's like our bodies are designed to protect us. And so automatically you always think it's going to go wrong. It's fear.
Yeah, exactly. The saber-toothed tiger is going to jump out of the bushes. Yes.
We tell ourselves that because our bodies are and our minds are designed to do that. But
well, and it's there to take care of us, right? It's not a bad reaction, but you can't let it run your life either.
Correct. And I know so many people that do that. Even my mother is kind of like that. She doesn't, she's in a position where she can do anything she wants. She could probably go travel and she don't want to get on a flight. She's scared, these planes are going to crash.
They come dropping out of the sky all the time. Yeah.
The percentage of planes that crash, Ma, just go travel the world. I'd rather see things and have experiences and have my kids have experiences than worry about what's going to happen if the plane, if it ever happens.
Yeah, you're far more likely to end up in a car crash than a plane crash.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit there and worry about if it happens, and I'll just pray about it and hey, God, take me, take my spirit, take my mind, take my body.
Yeah, whatever is supposed to happen will happen, and I'm in your hands. Yeah,
it's going to happen anyway. It's like that movie Final Destination. If death wants you, it's going to come get you, regardless of whether or not you're on that plane or if you're in a car. It's going to come get you, right? So I'm like, if you're meant to die at that time, I think it's gonna
exactly. You could be sitting in your living room in front of the TV.
Exactly.
I'm never getting in a plane, so I'm never in a plane crash. Well, guess what?
It just hit your house. Thanks. It can happen.
It can totally happen. So just go live your life and don't worry about it.
You know what I always say? I told somebody this the other day, I was like, I'd rather be 60 years old and say, you know what, I live life on my own terms or on my deathbed or whatever age I am. I'd rather say, you know what, I tried something and I lived life on my terms. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't work, but I tried it and I wasn't afraid to go out there and do the things that I wanted to do, versus sitting back and looking at my life and saying, well, damn, I didn't do that. I wish I would have did that. I should have did that. Man, if I would have did this.
Exactly. What if I had tried going into business one more time, right? Because so many entrepreneurs, if you look at their story and understand their story, they're not successful with the first thing out the gate.
Not a lot of them. Nope.
Hardly ever happens that way. The Zuckerbergs of the world are highly unusual.
Exactly.
Most of them are more like Colonel Sanders. It's like, yes, I finally struck it at 68 or whatever age he was when he...
When that did the McDonald's, when you said the founder, did you see the movie The Founder?
Yeah.
Ray Kroc. Yes. Yeah. He was older too.
He was late 50s or something. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean...
30. It's an anomaly to happen when you're 20 or 30. It's an anomaly.
Exactly.
I promise you that. It doesn't have to happen that early. So it's never too late to find success and to do the things that you want to do. So just go after it within reason. Like I said, don't go quit your job.
Well, I mean, follow the breadcrumbs, right? There will come a point where that side gig becomes your main hustle. And by all means, but yeah, don't jump ship too soon either.
Yeah, they say success leaves clues. So there's always a clue to follow to lead you to that success, whatever that success is that you're trying to seek and whatever it is you're trying to do. So yes, follow the clues, like you said. Yes.
So once you went pig in on breakfast, sold your house, how did that play out once you took that step of faith? I'm going to describe it that way because it is.
Yeah, it is a step of faith. It was a big leap of faith. So we started moving the pieces into place. We found, like I said, the partner that we have. We started getting all of our fractional CFO and this person in place. And then we just started telling people about the company, and we started doing things, moving down the path of building our product out. What kind of products do we want? Making sure we formulate them right, building our marketing around it, our branding stuff around it. And we just started building it out from there. Another thing that I would say is when you are starting a company, you need to make sure that you have the right people in place. And what I mean by that is you need to have a team around you that knows what you don't know.
Exactly. I'm glad
Oh,
you said that because I was going to circle back around and go. And I love how you glossed over we got the right people in the right seats
yes,
because
yes.
that's critical.
So
It's
critical.
so critical. So many entrepreneurs are like, I have to do all this myself.
You don't. You can get
The
fractional
sooner
services.
you can stop doing all this yourself, the better.
The better. And you're not going to have a whole lot of money unless you just got like some big seed money or you did a fundraiser, whatever. You're not
Yeah.
going to have a whole lot of money to start. So I would suggest fractional services for these things, but you need
Yep.
things like legal, you need things like marketing. That's critical. Compliance.
Yeah.
Like we had all these people in place to tell us what we couldn't do, what we could do, to
Yeah.
prevent
Formulation people, all kinds
Asian
of, yeah.
people, to make sure that we were doing it. Even as far as trademarking goes, I didn't realize how crazy like
Oh, yeah.
and naming and all of that stuff. Like you don't know what you don't know, especially going into a different space. Yes, I was in operations and
Yeah.
all that stuff, but I never did the product space. My husband was doing that stuff, but he did it from a standpoint of sales. And so
Right.
you don't know what you don't know. And so to have
Yeah. And the legal is a whole different world.
it's a
Yeah.
whole, and I'm not trying to be a legal expert. I'm not trying to do that. It wouldn't work anyway because I haven't been to school. I don't know the terminology. I don't know how to read
It's a really steep learning curve. Yeah.
a steep learning curve, and that's just not something that I like or want to even delve into. So I want to go to the experts and make sure I have the people around me in my company because there were so many things that they told us in the beginning that, oh my God, if we had known, I mean, we would have been screwed down the line and we would have spent a whole lot of time, energy, and money. Now, that's not to say that there are things that you are going to spend a lot of time, energy, money on, and they could be flops. Like, that's not to say you're not going to
Yeah.
have
Well,
mistakes and things.
that will happen, but there are avoidable ones as well.
The avoidable ones is what's going to keep you afloat because if you can avoid certain things and going down certain paths and spending a lot of money and resources on those things, that's going to help you out versus you spending all this money and trying to do it yourself and you don't know what you're doing and you're just spending, spending, spending. You're going to run out of money. And that's what happens to most entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They run out of money within that first year, 6 months, because they just don't know what they don't know. And even as far as when we were doing the business plan, we still had people look over it. Okay, what do you think about this? How much will we need for this? How much is this going to cost? Go to the experts that know what your
Yes.
could be because I'm telling you, there's always something that comes up and you don't have the money for. And a lot of times when you start a business or a company, unless you have a huge following or a huge brand buildup, you are not going to have the sales that you think you're going to have.
Yeah. It's going to take a minute for that to happen.
Unless you're just a big influencer and you have a brand
The
anticipation.
Colbert bump. Yes.
Yes, yes, you're not gonna have it's gonna go like this and it's gonna go
It's
like
going to
this.
kind of creep up a little. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it may go like this. So it's never gonna be, this. Oh my
It's
God.
not like
Oh,
this straight trajectory up and to the right. No.
it's not. So
It's a
you have
little roller coaster.
Yes.
Yes.
So you have to make sure that you have the capital to weather those storms because that doesn't mean your product isn't good. That doesn't mean your business is not going to work. It just means you're going to run out of capital because your expenses are not covering what you're making in revenue. And so if it's doing like this,
Yeah, that's a
you're
problem.
exactly. If it's going the wrong way, then you're going to run out of money. So you just got to be careful about those things. I mean, that's a huge thing that,
Yeah.
we had, do a couple of capital raises because we had those issues like where we were doing like this, So
Yeah, exactly. And the capital raises get easier once you've got the team in
once you
place.
got the team and the revenue and
Yeah,
all that stuff, yes. But when
exactly.
you're
It's like
not,
now we've got pieces we can
yes,
adjust and
yes,
dials we can hit.
yes,
It
yes.
makes raising a lot easier.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just know, like managing your costs going into it, always looking at your numbers. always making sure you're looking at what are my demographics? What do my sales look like? What is my market share?
Yeah, is really sucking
Right.
this up like it's
Yeah.
candy. And yeah,
What about marketing to the wrong people? I could be totally marketing to the wrong people. So you
yeah,
need to have people around you that understand those dynamics that can really test it and see what's working, what's not working, and help you along the way. Because if you don't, it's tough. Like, I mean, I
yeah.
don't like entrepreneurs. Like I see these stories once again, this comparison story on Instagram or TikTok where these people are like, oh my God, I made $1 million in 1 week. Oh my gosh, I just did this. They
Yeah,
show you success stories. They show you these big success.
exactly, exactly. And it only took me a year, except it took them 15 years to figure out the formula that then took them a year.
Correct. Or they don't
Yeah.
show you, like, I was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, I hate it when they show these TikTok stories about these influencers that they come up with these brands and they sell like $2 million in their first 2 weeks or whatever. And I'm like,
Luxury dog accessories. Yes.
but those people already had a follow. That's what they don't tell you. A lot of those people already had followings and they already,
Yes.
brand anticipation. They already groomed their brand. And so
Yeah,
you don't
exactly. And
like
that took years. You
it took
don't become an influencer overnight.
you
Yeah.
don't become an influence and you can't compare yourself with somebody who has 2 million followers versus you're starting from zero. You don't have any followers. Nobody knows about your brand. Your
Your family knew about your brand
family
last
knew,
week when
nobody
you
else
told
knew,
them.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Your family can't take you to 2 million followers. So people don't tell the stories behind the scenes. They don't tell you about the days that you are probably going to want to like jump off a bridge because things happen every single day. This didn't happen. The products didn't come in, or this was
Yep.
wrong, or customers wanted
Or the product came in formulated
it was
wrong, or
wrong.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
exactly.
wrong, stuff like that. They don't tell you about those things. And so there's a lot of misguidance when it comes to this, and
Information.
misinformation, all that.
Yes.
Because think about it, when you're working in a corporate job, you don't care about all those things. You just care about this one specific area you're assigned to. But when you are owning your business, you care about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, all of the bucks stop on your desk in the
It
end.
does. It
Yeah.
does. And you have to manage that. You have to manage all that. And it's a different weight and it's a different type of stress. And, they always say to whom is given, much is required, right? Because
Yes.
a lot on your shoulders. Like you have a lot on your shoulders because everything's, like you said, everything stops with you. So, it's different. It's a different mindset. It's a different shift. It's not for the faint of heart. It is not for the faint of heart. And I would say I was just an entrepreneurial spirit before.
Well, but here's the thing, right? A lot of us think of ourselves as faint of heart, even though we are incredibly strong and powerful women.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that's one of the things I want to send the listeners away with today is you are so strong and you are so amazing and you are the rock of your family. And if you're going, oh, well, I could never live into that, I got news for you, sweetheart. You've
Good.
already lived into this. You need
Absolutely.
to give yourself some credit.
Absolutely.
So we're down to our last few minutes here.
Yeah.
I know. I know. And I'm just going to remind the listeners that in the show notes are the links to all of her amazing products and her books. And if you want to have her as a speaker, she's amazing as a speaker. All of that is going to be down there in the show notes. But what is the one myth about health and wellness that you wish more people understood?
That all the products that you see on the shelf in Walmart and Target and Walgreens are great for you. People forget to read the ingredients and they forget to look at the back of it and they think this magic pill is going to make me slimmer and it's going to make me this and it's going to make me that. You need to read and you need to make sure that what you're putting in your body is clean. It's going to be good for you and it's going to do what it says it's going to do. That's the problem I have with a lot of the products on the shelf today. They
Yeah.
don't do what they say they're going to do and they're charging you an arm and a leg and they have a bunch of junk in them. And
Yes.
so, and one more myth I would also say is that you're getting all the nutrients that you think you're getting from your food source.
Yeah, that's just not the case in today's
It's
food
not.
economy. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why we need clean, good ingredients that work and that are going to do what they say they're going to do. That's what we strive for. We want something that works and it's going to do what it says it's going to do. And so that's some of the myths I think with health and wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so many things out there are marketed for like everybody. Yeah, this will help you if you have blah. Well,
Right.
maybe it'll help
Maybe.
you if you have blah, which is why it's never 100% review on these things, right?
Exactly.
Because the people who are raving about it took care of the problem they were having that resulted in that, but there are
Mhm.
also six other things that can result in that. So,
Absolutely. 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 So they know how to brand and market to the right
yeah.
people. It's all a marketing is all psychology. I've
It
learned
is all psychology,
all psychology.
psychology and manipulation with varying degrees of positive or negative intent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm so thrilled to have had you here with me today. I really appreciate you taking out time to have this conversation. I sincerely hope we have more in the future.
Absolutely. We will. Thank you, Sophia.
Yay! And thank you for joining us today. I would love to hear what you thought of this episode. Was it helpful to you? Are there other topics you'd like to hear, other people you'd like to see me talk to? Just give me a little feedback either in the comments or you can drop me an email if it's more private to Zofia, Zofia, at steminstilettos.com. And until next week, go out there, be bold, be beautiful, and be authentically you.
Bye.